Good. All right, so let's get rolling here. Welcome, guys. My name is Robert Schwenkler. This is Joshua Hathaway. Welcome to this webinar. Thank you so much for taking about 75 minutes out of your time for showing up. We're going to go ahead and get started with authentic dating secrets, the 5-step method to approach and build sexual connection with women without being a creepy D-bag, so you can date with confidence and call on the partner of your dreams. So as Joshua continues, I'm going to load up our screen show here.
Yeah, guys. So what we're promising you tonight is the master key to overcoming your fear of rejection, so you can approach any woman confidently that you're attracted to without being creepy, needy, pushy, or aggressive. We're going to talk about how to build sexual connection tonight and discover how to be 100% authentic with your sexual desire and make her feel safe at the same time. We're going to talk about the magic decoder ring to women, how to listen to a woman so you can really understand what she actually wants when it comes to dating, intimacy, sex, and connection, and how to date with authenticity so you can call in the partner of your dreams, guys. And before we get any further into these shenanigans, I want to ask you to eliminate distractions. I want you to get the most out of today's webinar. So I highly recommend you find a quiet spot in your space, free from the television, free from social media, and that you have a pen and paper to take some notes with, because when you write it down, you remember it better, typically. So listen, guys, we're about to share a really awesome recipe for creating the kind of sexy, intimate relationships that you want with women. And like any recipe, it's going to be important that you have all the ingredients. So let's stick around for this whole thing, because, if you skip a step or miss an ingredient, the recipe is just not going to be the same. We're going to teach you basically step by step how to bake a really delicious sexual pie, a pie of sexual connection with women. So make sure you stick around for all the steps. And if you're on your computer, just know that you can shrink or move the little video box of seeing our faces if it covers any of the words that you're trying to read in the screen. So just get familiar with the platform here, and feel free to shoot any questions or comments in the chat throughout the webinar. We're super excited to field those as needed, and enjoy.
So as we get going, want to make sure that you are in the right spot here. So who is this webinar tonight for? Well, I want to start out with who it's not for. So webinar tonight is not for you if you're looking for quick fix strategies. If you're wanting to learn how to get or in any way manipulate or coerce women to sleep with you, you're not really on the right webinar. There's another one out there that's going to be better for you. And if you're not willing to invest some time, energy, and money into becoming a better version of yourself, especially when it comes to connecting authentically and powerfully and confidently with women, then you're not in the right place. However, if you are a man who dates and is sexually attracted to women, if you're a man who wants to master your fear of rejection and build unshakable confidence in your dating life, if you want to learn how to authentically initiate and escalate with women without coming across as a creep, and if you're in any way hesitant, uncertain, or even confused about how to navigate dating in the era of Me Too, then you're in the right place. If you've been curious about or invested in pickup artist stuff before, but maybe you know that there's more to learn, or maybe you were even totally turned off by it, if you continually end up in the friend zone with women, even when you've followed the rules and learned to be sensitive and respectful to women, if you're ultimately looking to meet a woman who could become the partner of your dreams, and if you're a man who's committed to inner growth and living his best life, then welcome. You're in the right place. Glad to have you here. So, just a moment, I'm going to bring us back onto the screen here. So I'm going to bring us back on to introduce ourselves and let you know why we're here tonight speaking to you, why we took the time to put this content together, and why this work around authentic attraction is so important to us. We're going to get to the juicy stuff shortly, but wanted to fill you in on that. So My name is Robert Schwenkler, like I said, and at this point in my life, the level of just juiciness and abundance that I experience in my connections with women is it's kind of off the charts for what I ever could have imagined earlier in my life. I have relationships with women, all the way from sexual to platonic relationships, and the whole range in between with women all around the country who are basically goddesses. They're just extraordinary women. The women with whom I do have sexual connections, we have hot sex. We have hot texts. We have super hot connections. My capacity to connect with a woman at the coffee shop or on Tinder or at at dance or wherever I might happen to be is, I'm able to bring my full primal self in a way that it feels just super juicy. And I know that is magnetic to women because that's what I hear them telling me. It hasn't been like this my whole life. I didn't have sex until I was 25 years old. And that was only after 3 consecutive times of having the opportunity, but my dick wouldn't get hard. So it was shameful the first time. And then there was a piled on shame the second time, that piled on more shame the third time, until I was just so loaded down with shame and fear. And I was already scared of connecting with women. I was pretty deep in it for a long time. I walked around for years, literally terrified to even look at women on the street because I was I was the ultimate nice guy, guys. Let me just tell you this. I was so much of a nice guy that I wouldn't even look at women on the street because I thought that I was objectifying them or doing something to them. And through having worked with these 5 pillars that we're going to present to you today, I've gotten to where I'm at in my life. I have these super alive, super hot connections with women, lovers all around the country. My romantic life is off the charts in a way that I could have never imagined, and it's only getting better.
Beautiful. Yeah, and myself, I think it would be easy for a lot of guys to look at me and just see that I'm a good looking guy and imagine that it would be easy for me to sort of have whatever women I want or be good with women. And I can promise you that that's not always been the case, that I've been excruciatingly terrified of rejection for a lot of my life. And so it would take a woman giving me really clear signs that she wanted to be, that she was interested in me before I would ever respond. And even I have lots of stories of women who gave me like very clear signs, and I was still in such self-doubt that I couldn't accept that they were giving me those signals. So I know so well what it's like to be just terrified of rejection and uncertain about how to approach women. I'm also been that nice guy. I identify with feminism, and I've been that feminist for so long that wants to support women and feeling empowered, doesn't want to objectify women. And I use that to shut down my own sexuality for years of my life. And what I've realized after a 13-year long marriage, I was together with one woman for 13 years and had to come back into the dating scene after being way out of it for a really long time. I realized that, taking ownership of my desire is actually really beautiful and really respectful when it's done well. And since then, I've been really enjoying the journey of doing a lot of experimenting in relationship, connecting in polyamorous relationship, dating lots of women, and even to the point of like women I've dated wanting to bring other women into our bed because they are so like inspired by the kind of connection that we have, and they want to share it with other women. So it's been a journey, and I've been doing lots of excellent experiments, and I want to share some of the wins with you guys so that we can keep you from having to do some of the bad experiments and really crushing it out the gate.
Along with Peter Rubin, myself and Joshua are co-founders of an organization. It's called the Brotherhood Community. And we basically work with men all around the world to help them live their best lives. And not just to live their own best lives, but to be in service of creating a more beautiful, equitable, and sustainable world together. So these pillars that you're going to learn tonight, they come not just from our own experience of mastering our sex and dating lives, but they come from a combined 3.5 decades of experience working with men, helping them create extraordinary results in every area of their lives. And of course, including women.
So guys, let's really just take a look together at dating in today's world. Because what we know is that on the one hand, we're told that in order to be good men, we need to always be sensitive and respectful to women. We need to make sure that our intentions are good and that we're safe men. We can't ever be creepy or weird or aggressive. And especially in the era of Me Too, we might have even gotten the message that women aren't even interested in connecting with men. They don't want to be approached by men. They don't want to talk to men. Women are mad at men. Men are bad. Toxic masculinity, blah, blah, blah. On the other hand, we're told that, and shown in countless media examples, so many of our sort of movie heroes of old, Han Solo is a perfect and really exquisite example, that in order to be sexually appealing to women, we need to be confident, in control, and know how to handle a woman. We need to be flirtatious and funny and always know the right thing to say at the right moment. And we need to be assertive and dominant, even controlling to the point of literal physical dominance, as shown in so many countless films. So the messages are conflicting. Go after what you want confidently, but without being aggressive. Be forward and honest, but not so forward and honest that you're creepy, right? And nice guys end up in the friend zone while the players get laid. Right? Are any of these conflicting messages familiar to you? Just raise your hand if they are. Approaching and building sexual connection with women is absolutely challenging at best, and at worst, it can feel like a total lose-lose proposition in today's world.
And so what so many guys end up doing is they end up relating to women through this lens of fear. And for a lot of guys, this is the fear of being the asshole creep. So when you're afraid of being the asshole creep, what's probably going on in your head is some or many or all of, in your head, you're thinking, guys are probably hitting on her all the time. I don't want to be just one other guy to be the 100th to approach her today. You're afraid that she's going to see you as just another hungry, desperate guy who's only after sex. And as good as your intentions are, there is even potentially the fear that you might unwittingly become the next antagonist of the next Me Too story on social media. And so what ends up happening for a lot of guys is that we end up living life, and especially life with women, from the nice guy zone. We live with a constant fear of rejection. There's a constant fear of being threatening or creepy or aggressive. There's, for a lot of guys, there's feeling friend zoned by women that we're attracted to. And in the end, we're left with none or very little of the sexual or intimate connection that we actually want. And the phrase, nice guys finish last, unfortunately, too often holds true when it comes to dating. And here's the clincher, guys, is that because you're suppressing your sexual desires, because you're playing the nice guy role and you're hiding all of your authentic, genuine desires, women feel that. They feel you suppressing your truth, and they feel the incongruence, and you, without even intending to, you become the creepy guy in her world.
It's an odd tightrope to walk. And I'll say that also on the other end of the spectrum, you have these scripts and the pickup artistry scripts and things like that feel a bit inauthentic, and many women can smell that a mile away, especially the kind of women that you want to actually have a relationship with. And so what we're doing is trying to find somewhere in the middle, because when guys are stuck in this nice guy zone, or guys are stuck feeling inauthentic in the ways that they're approaching women, we end up obsessed with work and achievement. We keep ourselves busy with work and other projects just to take our mind off the fact that we're fucking lonely, that we don't have the deep intimacy that we want. We go to dating apps and just swipe away, instead of making the real life connections that we really yearn for. We turn to porn and masturbation as an outlet for our sexual energy and frustration, because it's easy and it's right there and it feels good for a minute. Or we end up sleeping with or dating people that we don't actually feel connected to, right? We end up in these relationships that aren't like firing on all cylinders. And in the end, we just feel lonely and hopeless about ever having what we want. I don't know how many guys here have sort of met that hopelessness that we can ever find somebody who we really fucking feel excited to be around. So I know this is a bleak picture, but I promise you that it does not have to be this way. Because when we are able to implement the 5 pillars that we're about to introduce, you can absolutely achieve these outcomes and more, as many people that we know and have supported have. Number 1, rejection becomes a concept you can't even relate to anymore. You flirt and you play and escalate sexual interactions naturally and authentically in a way that has her feel more safe than she has ever felt with a man before. You can embody and share the deep emotional intimacy that you're craving and the sexual intimacy that you're craving. Women will see you as the king and sex god that you are. You walk in the world with a deep, unshakable confidence in your value and your ability to connect with women. And you feel potent in your masculine leadership and deep sensitivity to her needs. This is such a beautiful balance point, in such a way that you have that unforgettable kiss that you want at the end of the night, that you have that super hot connected sex that you want. And I'm reminded, because I know that many men can feel like it just can't happen for you. I want to tell you about our friend Joaquin. Joaquin came to us in 2017, just let go from a job that he kind of hated anyway, but didn't know how to speak up and really claim his space in. Guy hadn't had sex in over 2 years, right? He'd kind of given up on himself. And within 2 weeks of working with us, he was dating and having juicy sex with multiple women. I want to repeat that. Within 2 weeks of working with us, he was dating and having sex with multiple women, super legit, not being weird or creepy, fully authentic. Now he's got the job that he loves, helping entrepreneurs as a digital nomad, and travels the globe with his gorgeous, committed partner. And they are just having the time of their lives together. And I promise you too can have these results. It's not based on manipulation. It's not based on scripts or tactics. It's based on the 5 pillars that we're about to share with you. And like I said before, guys, we're going to learn how to bake the sexiest fucking pie you've ever baked in your life tonight. Stick around for all the ingredients and all the steps, because baking pies is not all that different from creating hot, juicy connections with women.
So pillar number 1 tonight is own your value. This means that you get to walk with unshakable confidence instead of seeking validation from the women around you. So for me, before I figured this step out, I was terrified to approach women at all. Again, I was terrified to look at women. Approaching women was just off the charts for me. This step, owning my value, has been the key for me, knowing that I bring so much to any interaction with a woman, whether it's a quick compliment to the woman at the coffee shop or a deep lovemaking session with a sexual partner. And what I have discovered for myself, and what we have discovered with the men that we work with, is that when we relate to women with our value fully owned, it turns them the fuck on.
Damn right it does. So basically this, owning your value is the step in this pie baking process where you just wash your hands. And I'll tell you right now, it's easier said than done, but you got to wash your hands of a few things before you can really be ready to step into an authentic interaction with women. This pillar is less about what you do and more about how you're being and getting rid of what you don't need, the via negativa, as they say. You got to wash your hands of looking for validation from women, guys. Like, she can never give you the validation you're looking for. So when you look for validation in your interactions with women, she feels that demand energy, that needy energy, and it triggers a resistance that wouldn't be there if you weren't sort of trying to hook that in them. Women are incredibly, exquisitely sensitive and intelligent beings who feel that stuff from a mile away. So wash your hands of needing to get your validation from a woman. Next thing you have to do is wash your hands of trying to get something out of the interaction. We say be a giver and not a taker. Let go of the narrow objectives. Just give a fuck. Give a fuck about this human being in front of you. And don't try to get a fuck. That's the least effective way to ever actually have an exquisite sex life, is to just walk to a woman to try to get a fuck. When you're showing up to give something meaningful and not to get something, this is where you learn that you have something exquisite to give, and that's just yourself, right? And when you're no longer needy and trying to get something out of the interaction, you become playful and spontaneous and magnetic, just as you are. You're set free into your own sort of unique existence, and it feels so fucking good to you first. And when it feels good to you, I promise it feels good to her, right? So get that access to that spontaneity. And what you have to understand underneath all of this is, as terrifying as it can be, rejection is an illusion. Break the spell of the fear of rejection right now. You can do it right now. It becomes really natural when you're just owning your value, when you're inhabiting your own body and your own fucking inimitable self, just as you are. It's like this. If I'm showing up to give somebody a $50 Amazon gift card, right? I know how much the gift card is worth. I show up to a woman just to give the gift of presence and connection. If I show up ready to hand this person a $50 gift card and they don't accept, does that mean that the gift card is worth any less than it was when I offered it? Fuck no. It doesn't mean that at all. So if any woman is unwilling to accept you as you are, showing up just to give the gift of your presence, then that's totally okay. It has no reflection on your own value. Your gift card is not diminished a single fucking penny. But don't just take my word for all this. Here's what a gorgeous, evolved friend of mine has to say about it.
What is your relationship with yourself like? What is that like, right? Because when we really go home to ourselves and rebuild that, then our other relationships tend to be a lot easier. So what I would say with what you're just presencing is, it sounds like there's a lot of stuff going on within that guy's world with himself, and it has very little to do with the women on the outside, and it has to do with his own relationship with women within. So I would really be like, how can we build you into a really beautiful man that is really confident within himself naturally, not a cocky asshole, and to really come from that space to where you see like you're a gift.
And what I've found in my own personal experience is that when I'm embodying these principles, not because I want to get women, but because I really value these things, that I become like radically magnetic, and I have as much sort of as juicy as interactions with women as I want.
And I think, you feel that like not so much fear of rejection and stuff, right? Like, because when you're confident in yourself, it's like there isn't that sense of like neediness or not neediness or like, oh my God, it's about other people.
So what happens when we master this pillar? Look, we could do a whole fucking webinar on this alone, but this is just pillar number one, guys. Before you own your value, you act like a sheep. You're constantly looking for validation. When you own your value, your unique, inimitable value, you're a fucking lion in the world, and everybody gets a little more turned on. Fear of rejection becomes an abstract idea. Neediness is replaced with a sense of inner confidence, and you go after what you want more because it comes from this innate compass that you have inside of yourself that you trust and value.
Pillar number 2 tonight, guys, is understand her world. This is where, when she feels deeply understood, she leans in all on her own. And what allows this to happen is, don't assume that your attention is unwanted. So going back to my story, I lived in constant fear of violating the boundaries of women for years on end. I thought that I was, so here's the thing. I thought that I was being sensitive to women. I thought that I was being a nice guy, but it turns out that all I was doing was just like constantly projecting my fear all over them constantly. And after having spoken to hundreds of women, literally hundreds of women at this point in my life, about what they actually desire from men, I have a really ingrained sense of just how far off I was for so long, and how that fear that I was literally dumping onto women 24/7, how it kept me from being able to connect with them.
Right. And what I want you guys to understand is that we literally have interviewed hundreds of women to understand them from the inside. Not only is this based on our own experience, this is based on content, connecting with and asking very pointed questions to many women to understand what they really want. So we're baking this sexy ass pie. We've washed our hands of our need to get validation from women and need to prove ourselves or something about ourselves to women. The next step is we source our ingredients really well. We source and gather our ingredients really fucking well. Okay? And that's what we're about to do as we understand and break down this pillar of understanding women. This is the magic decoder ring to women. First of all, get this through your head right now and remember it. Women are way fucking smarter and more sensitive than we are when it comes to relationships. We're never going to fucking outsmart or out sensitive a woman when it comes to relationship. We can only fucking lean back and respect that this is a mastery that they have. And we can work toward getting better at it. So just deeply fucking respect the intelligence and sensitivity of women. If you underestimate women in this way, then you're basically just carrying on some misogynistic bullshit programming that is not going to help you or her have the kind of relationship that you want. Number two, women have a tremendous amount of desire, and it is under siege in our culture. So whatever you might have been taught, and whatever bullshit about testosterone and estrogen and testosterone makes men more turned on than women, it's bullshit. I promise you, it is a fucking chimera. Because what's true is that women have just as much desire for sex and pleasure as men do. It's just more complicated and it's under siege. Women need to feel safe to open up to their own sexuality. And once your baggage of needing to be validated by a woman is out of the way, you can actually put your attention on her in a way that makes her feel safe. When you're attuned to a woman and you're listening and giving her your attention, it's one of the sexiest fucking things in the universe for all of us, but especially women. You got to understand that women are faced with incredibly confusing messages about their sexuality in our culture. All the messages that you're getting, all the weird mixed messages that you're getting, women get too in a different way. They're not allowed to be a slut. They have to be sort of perfect and a Madonna, a virgin, but they can't, be frigid, but then they should embody their sexuality, but they can't be too sexy because then they'll be a slut. There's so much that goes on. And of course, at the end of the day, unlike men, if a woman makes a bad decision around their sexuality, they might end up dead. Okay? Get this about a woman and understand that it just takes a sense of safety, a man who puts his attention on her in a way that feels safe for her to open up to her own sexuality. You never have to turn her on. She's already turned on. So the second thing I want to say is that women want you to approach them in a respectful way. They want to be connected with by men who are owning their value and showing respect for them and sensitivity to them. So many times I hear from women, single women, the guys who approach me, they're just fucking slimy. The guys who I really want to approach me don't, right? What they're saying is that the guys who approach them tend to bring this energy of demand, tend to bring this neediness, and they really want to be approached by guys who are in their hearts. I want to say also, just a note on pickup artistry. No great relationship can start with manipulation. Let me say that again. No great relationship can start with manipulation. And whether you're looking for long-term commitment or to date really amazing women, multiple women, whether you're looking for open relationships, you're looking for a great relationship. If you settle for less, then get the fuck off of this call right now. And no great relationship can start with a script and manipulation. So we don't do that. That's not what we're about. There's no objective orientation in our work. Pickup artistry offers a way to accomplish a goal using the unconscious drives of women and certain scripts and certain sort of practiced maneuvers. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to show you how to show up authentically in yourself and create a truly authentic connection with a woman. This is the decoder ring of women, and it helps you to get exactly what you want at the same time. When you understand that women are exquisitely intelligent and sensitive, they're actual human beings, not just an object of your desire. When you understand that women are truly, deeply, richly sexual beings who only need safety to open up. And when you understand that, that women will actually love your attention when it's given in a respectful way, it just makes it so much easier to connect with women. And once you own that value of yours, once you understand her world, then you're well on your way to having some delicious connections with women that you've longed for, that actually are the building blocks of a great relationship.
Pillar number 3 tonight, guys, is claim your desire. This means that you create magnetism and connection instead of shaming your own sexual desire. So before I got this, I thought that women didn't want sex, and they certainly didn't want mine. Basically, I was a limp man noodle. I lived my life in that way. After owning my desire at this point in my life, I show up in my full, authentic sexual expression with women. I let them know honestly and genuinely exactly what's going on inside of me without needing anything from them. But I put it out there. I lay it on the table. Again, I put my gift card out on the table and I offer it, and they get to decide whether they want it or not. And women tell me time and time again how fucking sexy it is. So this section of the webinar is the section where we preheat the oven. If you get all the ingredients together, you stick the pie in the oven and the heat's not turned on, it's going to be a flaccid pie at best.
And we all want to make sure that our crust is nice and crispy, brothers. So preheat that oven. Just claim your desire. And let me remind you that none of these pillars exist in a vacuum. If you just claim your desire with women without owning your value and understanding her world, you're fucked. You're going to be a weird ass creepy dude. But when you are owning your value and connected to her world, and you can claim your desire, magic happens. Understand this. Hiding your desire makes you feel unsafe to her. Being inauthentic with your desire makes you feel unsafe. If she can sense your desire, remember, she's more sensitive and intelligent when it comes to relationship than you are, but it's not congruent with your words and actions, it causes a disconnect and a loss of trust. And trust is the number one factor in creating a sense of juiciness with a woman, opening her sexuality, right? So you have to first give yourself permission to want what you want. You have to give yourself permission to want what you want. Your desire is fucking good and beautiful. When you get out of your head and into your body and start living below your neck a little bit, you interrupt your analysis paralysis about what she might want and what she might need and what's the right thing to say and how do I present the right thing. And you just come back again and again to the world below your neck, to these senses, your sense of smell and taste and touch. You'll find all the answers you need in your body's intuition. The animal of your body is so much smarter than your brain is when it comes to connecting with other human beings. So trust it. And know this, that your desire and your permission for it, you're allowing it to unfold without any demand on somebody else to satisfy it, is hot. When you can inhabit and own your desire without demanding it be satisfied by somebody else and creating resistance in the other person, then other people are authentically turned on. Turn on is contagious when it is not a demand.
So I want to illustrate this pillar by sharing a personal story. And this particular story actually took place with both Joshua and I together in the same location. It was before one of our men's weekends, which we run on a quarterly basis. So myself and Joshua and Peter, our core team, we went to some urban hot springs. They're clothing optional, got hot tubs, saunas, people hanging around. At one point during the evening, Joshua and Peter were in the sauna and I stepped out back into the hot tub, and there was a group of 4 women sitting there talking to each other. And there were some pretty sexy women in that group, and I wanted to connect with them. And what started going on in my mind is, of all the places to start hitting on a woman, this is the last one, a place where they're relaxing, where they're already naked. I don't want to make these women feel unsafe. And all of this tightness, all of this nervousness, all of this fear came into my body. And eventually, I was kind of listening in, feeling like a little bit of a creep. Eventually, I started to, found a way that seemed suitable to enter into the conversation and was trying to engage with them, mostly unsuccessfully. They weren't really, they weren't really giving me much of their energy or attention.
So I show up.
Yeah, cue Joshua's entrance.
And I noticed that Robert is like, he's very sincerely trying to connect with him. He's being really fucking nice, and he's totally in his head. And I just started engaging with them and talking and being unapologetic about how turned on I was. I wasn't talking about how turned on I was. I was just fully in my body and relating to them in a rich way. And by the end of that hour of hanging out all naked in a hot tub, all 4 of those women gave me their phone number without me asking for it. And were like, please get in touch with me. And so I loved the way that Robert's intent brought him into that conversation. And I watched the way that he got up in his head and was stuck there and was unable to sort of cross that barrier with them and create the kind of embodied connection that I know he wanted most.
So what ended up happening is, after this particular weekend, after spending a week in deep space with other guys, doing literally running through these pillars, many of these pillars that we're teaching you about tonight, we came back after the retreat and went to the same hot tub and hot springs again to just to debrief and to relax and to integrate. And this time there was a woman that Joshua had invited, and her and I, just struck up some conversation throughout the night. I could feel some attraction on my side, but I didn't feel the neediness. I didn't feel the particular, grabby stuff or the hidey stuff or the fear stuff going on inside of me that made it feel like I needed to hide my desire. We just connected authentically and naturally. I was relaxed around her. And as we were both leaving the hot springs at the same time, I basically asked her if she wanted to make out that night. I was pretty upfront about it. And actually, Joshua, the inside scoop on this story, so I'll let you finish. It.
I do, and I'll say that Robert wasn't the only guy who wanted some of that action that day, but he's the only guy who ended up with some of that day. And what she told me later is there are a couple things. She just really celebrated the experience of being around men in general, and Robert in particular, who just showed up full, who showed up not needing anything from her, who showed up in their bodies and present and full. And number 2, when Robert asked for what he really wanted, he didn't fucking couch it in any other terms but what he really wanted. And she knew that her no was pre-approved by him. I want you to get this piece. Her saying no was so okay. And knowing that, it gave her permission to say yes in a way that she wouldn't have otherwise been able to say yes. That pre-approval of Robert's no was a huge part of, again, making her feel safe. He owned his value. He claimed his desire. He understood her world and didn't make a demand on her. And she reciprocated in kind, in a lovely way. If we were to talk more about that, we would probably have to have a sort of some kind of age barrier on this webinar. So we'll just leave it at that for now. And I want to affirm to you guys that your desire is fucking good. That women want your desire. Your desire is a beautiful, powerful force of creation in the world. And I want you to say yes to it. So I want to ask you in this moment, I want you to put your left hand on your heart. I want you to grab your balls with your right hand. Don't worry about anybody else who might be watching. I just want you to just engage with your own body for a moment. Take a deep breath in through your nose and repeat after me. My desire is so good. My desire is so beautiful. My desire is powerful. My desire is a gift. I own and celebrate my desire with every cell in my body. And I give my desire freely and without demand to the world. Just take that in. It might feel weird to say out loud, but I promise you that owning your desire is a powerful step toward actually getting what you want. And desire isn't just sexual desire, guys. It's whatever you want. When you are in congruence with what you want and are willing to ask for it without demanding it, you are in such a better position to get it, whether you're in the boardroom or the bedroom. This is about taking strong, attuned leadership that's based on this exquisite compass of your own desire. But let's hear about owning your desire from Leslie. She's a teacher of sacred sexuality who works with hundreds of men and women across the country.
I enjoy being approached by men when I can feel that they're both inhabiting their desire in a way that's truthful. Like they're not trying to hide their desire from me, but they're also inhabiting their heart and their presence. So it's like, I don't want a guy to come up to me and be all like, hi, it's nice to talk to you, and trying to kind of like hide their masculinity or sort of like apologize for the fact that they have a cock or something. Like, I want them to be like, hey, like, here I am, like, fully inhabiting this being that I am, and I'm also right here with my heart, and I think that you're incredible. So, like, just, like, having that I want the full range of impact there.
So, one thing to really be clear about, guys, even if you don't get the outcomes of sex and intimacy that you want from any particular interaction in which you own your desire but don't demand it, when you show up owning your desire with women, when you give her a compliment, when you reach out for a sense of connection, when you reach out from a place of wanting to give your attention to a woman here as a gift, then you light her up and you make her day more beautiful. You become a more trustworthy man. Men in general become more trustworthy. The world becomes a better place. And the legs of the universe open a little wider for all of us, because we're in this together. And the more trustworthy we as men can become, the more room we make in the world for the desire of women. So let's be allies instead of competitors, huh? Own your fucking desire. Share it exquisitely. Own your value, understand her world, and say what you want without demanding it. And everybody gets more of what they want, I promise.
Pillar number 4 tonight is take aligned action. All of this internal stuff doesn't matter a single bit if we're not doing something with it. So this means taking aligned action instead of letting fear of rejection stopping you. And this is where the rubber meets the road. And this is where you both have the opportunity to actually get more of what you want. Guys, I can't tell you how many countless hours I've spent frozen wishing I had the confidence to approach a woman and start forging a connection with her.
As the great pie maker Lao Tzu says, the journey of 10,000 pies begins with a single pie. If you want to bake a sexy ass fucking pie, be willing to bake some not so sexy pies. That's just what happens. Anything worth doing is worth doing badly. And the only way to get better at it is practice. This is about leadership. This is about taking aligned action in your life. None of these pillars would be worth a salt if they didn't apply to a much larger and broader scope than just connecting with women. And this is a huge one. Take aligned action, gentlemen. You got to bake the pies. You got to follow the recipe. Understand this axiom. Doing the thing makes it easier to do the thing. Every time you do the thing, you broaden the path to doing the thing. It gets a little easier. This works both ways. If you're in the habit of not doing a damn thing, if you're in the habit of being frozen and letting the voices inside of you that are afraid of rejection or telling you something about how the woman might react or what's going to happen next freeze you up, well, it's going to be easier to let those voices dominate you. But if you enter into a practice of taking aligned action, it becomes easier and easier to seek out the thing that you want most. And again, we're talking about aligned action. What's aligned action? Aligned action is holding the intent to make her day, to give her your attention, which is fucking priceless. And there's no other resource like it in the entire universe. Nobody else in the whole universe can give a woman your attention. You understand how fucking priceless that is? Women will, this is your gift card, man. This is your $50 Amazon gift card. When you're congruent in your desire to make her day, you become creep proof, because you can't be actually creepy when you're just there to show up and give a gift. And in the openness of that gift, there's an opening that happens. There's no guarantee on that, but you become creep proof. The next thing I want you to understand, guys, is that courage trumps confidence. Most women will take a courageous man over a confident man any day of the week. Courage is just a relationship with fear. It's not the absence of it. Courage is just a way of putting your arm around fear and saying, all right, buddy, we'll do this together. So if you're looking to stay comfortable in the process of creating the most exquisite relationships that you can, of having the kind of juicy connections that you want with women, then maybe this is time for you to just shut this webinar off and just keep sort of twiddling your thumbs, imagining a better world for yourself. But if you're willing to be uncomfortable, if you're willing to lean into that discomfort, if you're willing to meet fear with a sense of courage and willingness and gentleness and loving kindness, then I promise you there's nowhere in the universe you can't go and nothing you can't accomplish. And the last thing is, of course, if you don't bake a pie, nobody gets a pie. If you're not that guy who fucking walks up to a woman and gives her the most respectful, loving attention that she's ever received from a strange man, then nobody gets that respectful, loving attention that they crave. Women love that kind of attention. They love the kind of attention that is a gift, when they feel fully free to accept or deny or take that gift in whatever direction they want to take it. And as the great pie baker, Wayne Gretzky says, you miss 100% of the pies you don't bake. So bake some fucking pies. And you gotta want it bad enough to invest enough to make it fucking happen. If you don't want it bad enough, you won't be willing to fail. But it comes down to this. The only reason I'm not a rock star right now playing guitar on the stage in front of 40,000 people is I didn't want it bad enough to risk working hard enough to make it fucking happen. The only reason I'm not a fucking CEO of a multi-million-dollar company or billion-dollar company is I didn't want it bad enough to risk working hard enough to make it fucking happen. So what is it? Are you willing to want a beautiful relationship bad enough to risk investing the energy that it's going to take to make it fucking happen? Only you know, brother. But the women out there that I talk to will tell me again and again that the guys who they really want to hit on them don't. And the guys who are in their hearts often have not shown the courage that they need. Because a woman can't sort of turn off the fact that she needs a man to show up with fucking courage and leadership to get her attention. And so many women are hungry for men just like you to step up.
Pillar number 5 tonight is evaluate and optimize. This means that you're continually up-leveling your results and that you're receptive to all the different feedback and that you're making adjustments as needed. So at this point in my life, now that I'm not projecting all over women all the time, I can actually be present with them. I can notice their nonverbal cues. I can take their verbal feedback as just what it is, feedback. It's information that's going to help me be able to show up in the way that they want me to show up so that we can both get our needs met.
That's right, baby. You got to taste the pie. You got to share it with other people. You got to get feedback and you bake another pie, right? You don't taste the pie, get bad feedback and be like, oh, I'm never going to bake another pie again, right? You're like, fuck, man, it's just a pie. Like somebody else has figured out how to do it well. I can figure out how to do it well. But the thing that men do is they fucking shut down in their shame. They take it so personally and they shut down in their shame. Be open to feedback. Be eager for the learning experience. And let me tell you, every interaction with a woman is feedback. You're getting feedback constantly throughout the interaction. You got to be tuned in, right? And the more opportunities for feedback you provide yourself, the more quickly you're going to improve and get what you really want. As long as you don't take it personally and let it shut you down. And by feedback, I mean be present with her. Put your attention on her. Listen to her words and to what her body is communicating at any given moment. If she's physically turning away from you but saying nice things, that means that she's a no to the interaction right now. If she's keeping her attention on you, if she's smiling and maintaining eye contact, that's a sign that she's open to this interaction. When you can respect a woman and listen to the signs that she's giving you instead of waiting for her to explicitly say what she needs, then you're making men more trustworthy. You're demonstrating that you are attuned and trustworthy, and you're making it safer for her in the interaction. And at the end of the day, the biggest cock blocker that you will face is your own shame. The biggest cock blocker that you will face is shutting down in shame when you get feedback that can appear as rejection. When again, that feedback has never taken a single penny off of the value of your fucking gift card. It's only helping you understand what is going to make it easier for a woman to accept it when the time comes. So don't let shame block you from being available to the feedback that's going to help you be better in every moment. Don't dissociate from the signals that she's giving you to guide your way, and just stop taking it personally. And when you're able to take feedback and respond to her, she feels safer and she opens. So again, none of these things exist in a vacuum. You gotta own your value in order to accept feedback and not take it personally, right? You gotta understand her world in order to claim your desire in a way that helps it feel attuned and connected without demand, right? And you have to take aligned action over and over again. You gotta lean into trusting your process and lean into the willingness to do it badly before you do it well. We understand this when it comes to any skill, bowling, fucking archery, whatever, but somehow we think that we're already supposed to be good at this stuff that nobody really sat us down and taught us how to do well. But when you do these things in concert, everybody wins. Everybody gets more of what they want. Women want you to fucking meet them and be good at it. Women want to be welcome to their turn on. Women want men who can show up congruent, respectful, and aligned with their desire. But the fact is that nothing that you've heard tonight is actually really new, right? You might have heard a nuance here or there that was a cool way of talking about it. You already knew this stuff. You already know this stuff in your bones. But as Morpheus says to Neo in the Matrix, there is a difference between knowing the path and walking the path. Which is why, like Neo, we don't want you to try to do this alone.
So we've got a surprise pillar for you tonight. We said there were 5 and there's actually 6. The sixth one is to get a guide. This means to commit to the path of mastery with mentors and with brothers instead of hiding. We work with a lot of guys. I've talked to a lot of guys about this, and one of the things that guys are super good at is hiding. They don't get what they want that way. So one of the things that made it possible for me to approach the woman in the hot tub, if you remember that story that Joshua and I were telling, was the confidence that I came with her that day. The reason that I came with that confidence was because I was full. I was filled up. I had spent a deep weekend with guys getting my needs met, so I didn't need to put them onto her. I got full from connecting deeply with my men. And when I do that, I don't depend on that woman for intimate connection.
And you cannot underestimate how fucking hot that is, guys. You cannot underestimate how hot it is for a woman to receive your attention without feeling like she needs to do something to make you happy. Baking pies sucks if you never share it with anybody, right? And honestly, if you're going to practice baking pies, make sure you share it with people who can give you some honest feedback with love. And that's your dudes, right? What we found is the more filled up we are with our connections with other men, the less we need to sort of grasp at women's attention for it. We find that I don't show up hungry and needy to women because I'm getting a bunch of excellent, amazing needs met with my men. I'm able to be honest. I'm able to be vulnerable and real. So many dudes are putting their needs for emotional intimacy squarely in the hands of women, and it's fucking with your mojo, brother. No relationship can survive if you're putting all your fucking emotional eggs in one basket and it's your girlfriend. She can't be your mama and your counselor and your partner at the same time. You gotta have places to bring that energy. And not that she doesn't want you to be vulnerable with her, but she can't be the only one. And with a circle of men who care about you, you get the accountability that you need. And that is just priceless. One of the keys to exquisite relationship with women, oddly enough, is exquisite relationships with men. When you put yourself around men who are also invested in creating the outcomes they want in their lives, committed to up-leveling and stretching themselves and challenging themselves, then you are on your way to having that life yourself. Because as it's been said kind of too many times, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So you got to take an honest look at the guys you're spending time with. Are they guys who are already in relationship, who it's hard for them to even relate to you and some of your challenges? Are they guys who are just going to commiserate with you about how fucking hard it is to meet a woman and how stupid women are and how hard they and fickle they are and just complain about women? Or are they guys who are like committed to investing energy and time and resources into creating the most exquisite relationship that they can create, because they know that it's not only going to be satisfying moment to moment, it's also going to increase their fucking lifespan, because that's what really, truly, deeply intimate and powerful relationships do. So, if you want to get the minimum out of a gym membership, then pay for the minimum gym membership, pay $10 a month for some like minimum membership and show up 3 times this week and twice next week and once the week after and never again, but keep paying for the membership, right? You can't get results without showing up. You can't get results without practicing. And the fact is that the excellence with women is a skill. It's not a fucking gift that is bestowed by the gods upon some few. It is a skill that is cultivated just like every other with consistent practice. And the ones who really want to get better get coaching and support. So if you want to gain muscle at the gym, get a fucking trainer. If you want to get better at really connecting with women, inhabiting your integrity and your authenticity with sexy gusto, get some support, And I know, because this message was drilled so deeply into myself, and it's such a fucking ingrained habit that I have to do it by myself. I have to be independently competent at whatever I do. And let's just say collectively, and fuck that. That's one of the reasons why men are killing themselves at 4 times the rate of women in our world right now. Because we're told that we have to do it by ourselves. We're isolated. But the truth is that real men get support from men that they trust. And real men invest in themselves, and women say it over and over. But, if your car broke down and you don't really have a ton of skill with a car, you're going to take it to a fucking professional and get it fixed. If you broke your arm, you're not going to sit there in your living room trying to set that thing yourself. You're going to go to the doctor and get it set right. Why would it be any different with this most important aspect of your life? If it's not working for you, if you need support, then why wouldn't you seek professional support to get the job done well? And women tell me over and over again, men who invest in themselves are hot. It is fucking hot to women to see men who are ready to challenge those internal emotional demons, who are ready to up-level their capacity for self-connection and relational intelligence. And let's just be honest with ourselves, guys. These principles go way beyond dating. This isn't just stuff that you can use to get a hotter date or to feel more confident approaching a woman you've never talked to. When you own these principles, when you own your value, when you understand the world of women, when you claim your desire, when you're taking aligned action, and when you're taking feedback and iterating, your sense of purpose and fulfillment is going to get enhanced. Your career and your work is going to get better, whether it's the people you lead or the people that are being led, or whether it's how you show up being led. Your dick will grow at least 3 inches larger. And I say that as kind of a joke, but honestly, your dick size is a matter of perception. And if you walk around thinking you have a small dick, then people are going to experience your dick as small. But when you show up with the confidence to love your cock just as it is, and you own the fucking beauty and power of that magic wand of yours, people are going to experience it as bigger than you maybe have ever let them in your life. So own it. And I promise, with more purpose, with a stronger career, and with a bigger cock, your sex is going to get way better for everybody, and everybody gets what they want.
What do you have to say to these guys after having watched the webinar about what's going to happen to their sex lives as well?
I want to make sure that you tell them that their sex is going to get levels and levels and levels better, just incredible. It's going to be something that you're co-creating with your partner. It's going to be something that you've never experienced before. Sex will stop being transactional, and it's just going to become this creative, juicy thing that women want to be a part of with you, that they want to be in with you, and it's going to be fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Did you hear that giggle? Did you hear that giggle at the end there? Yeah. Your sex is going to be something that women want to be a part of and co-create with you. Brother, you're here because you want more than quick hookup sex. And it's okay if hookup sex is what you actually want right now, because there are women in the world who would love to meet you there. And it's also wonderful and okay if you want something more deep and authentic. You're looking for authentic connection in the world, and likely a long-term relationship as well in the bigger picture. And the reason we built these pillars is because these principles that you'll use to initiate a relationship are the same ones that you will use to sustain a long-term partnership. This is what distinguishes what we're doing from anything I've ever seen. Today we promised you the master key to overcoming your fear of rejection, so you can confidently approach any woman you're attracted to without being creepy, needy, pushy, or aggressive. You can do this once you've fully owned your value in Pillar 1. We promised how to build sexual connection by being 100% authentic with your sexual desire and making her feel safe at the same time. We talked about Pillar 3, owning your desire without making any demands, and it makes you just magnetically attractive to women when you have that magic decoder ring for women, right? That promise that we made, that you understand how to listen to a woman, how to understand her sexuality and her world, and understand what women really want, and that its safety is the bottom line for a sense of sexual openness with a woman. And we promised how to date with authenticity so you can get the partner of your dreams. And when you put all these elements together, this is what you get. This is the juicy, steamy American pie that we've been baking all night together. And when you get that pie, you're going to notice that your life is delicious and warm. So we gave you the map to create these outcomes today. It's a very sort of general map. You're kind of out at a kind of high level on Google Maps right now. But the question is, are you really willing to take the next step? Apply these pillars and create the authentic connections with women that you want. Because the truth is that women want you to fucking win. Guys, we're in this weird mind frame that it's us against them, that we're in this weird kind of relationship. It's not. Women want to be well fucked. Women want to be approached by men who have a sense of who they are. It turns them on. It's like puts them off. And at the same time, they want to be met by men who own their shit and who can also be attuned to them. And how would we know? How would I know what women want? Well, let me share what one of the many women who I interviewed for this had to say about that.
If you had the opportunity to whisper in a man's ear, and there are many of these men out there who are feeling lonely, they're feeling a bit hopeless and powerless around having the courage to initiate interactions with women for fear of being a burden or of being rejected, what would you say to these guys?
I just like feel my heart opening right now just thinking about that. That we need you, we need your desire, that you're perfect, that if a woman has her own stuff come up, to not let that shut you down, to continue to have the courage to lean in and to share your pleasure and to share your desire with the world, with others. We need you. We fucking need you. And that's the pain from the Me Too thing. It's like, the pain is like from all of that, men have now shut down. Please. We need you. Fucking need you.
Just take that in for a minute, brother. This is unscripted. But she's speaking for many women and a part of many women who they don't even know how to make contact with. When you lean into your growth as a man and your connections with women, both you and women get more of what you deeply, truly want. And it's not just your relationships with women that'll improve. The results and sense of purpose you achieve will bleed over into every part of your life. So at this point, you have a couple of choices here. Infinite choices, but I'm going to emphasize a couple. You go it alone based off of the very valuable information we've given you in this webinar today. And I hope that every single man on this call is going to start implementing this stuff right away. Or you can consider deepening into this work with us and not just get the results with women that you want, but be an embodied masculine presence in the world that has profound positive impact in your lives and your life and the lives of everybody you meet. I'm sure a lot's gotten stirred up for you in this webinar, and you're considering where you're living in all of these, in the midst of all these pillars in relation to all these things we've shared. And I promise that the pillars we've covered today are the foundation for a really exquisite relationship life. And they also happen to be the foundations for a course that we're offering called Authentic Dating Strategies. And if you've gotten value out of the sort of rushed job of this webinar, and you imagine that there might be more in a 10-week online course, then I hope that you will consider taking an opportunity to deepen into these. We would love, Robert and I, and Peter as well, would love to talk to you and understand where you're at in your personal journey, what's working and what's not, and how we can help you crush it in sex, dating, and connection and relationship. I and every woman I know wants you to get the pussy that you want while making the world a safer place for women. And I promise you, I've been embodying this for years, and it feels fucking good. Not just to me, but to the women that I connect with as well. So if you're interested, we'd love to offer you a free consultation with one of the founders of the Brotherhood community. In this call, we're going to help you get super clear on where you're at in your dating life and your relationship life, and whether this course is going to be right for you to create the outcomes that you most want.
So guys, we've set aside some time on our calendars. What we would love to do is get together with you personally on how you can successfully apply these pillars in your dating life. Myself and Joshua, we've opened up 60 minutes on our calendars. And between now and February 14th, that's Valentine's Day, that's when this course is actually launching on February 14th. We've set aside some blocks of time to speak with you one-on-one and help you get the outcomes that you want. So you may have noticed that Joshua just dropped a link into your chat. So if you click on this, it's going to take you to schedule a free consult session with us. So this consult session is not for everybody. I just want to be clear about this. Here's how to tell if clicking on that link and spending 60 minutes with myself or Joshua is right for you. So do not apply for this consult if you only want easy fix strategies, if you're not willing to invest time and energy and money into mastering your dating life. Not going to be for you. If you just want shallow connection with women and you only want them to get them to sleep with you, don't click on the link. It's not for you. If you're addicted to feeling lonely and impotent in your dating life, then don't bother. But if you're ready to massively up-level your ability to authentically approach and connect and escalate with women, then click the link in the chat box right now. If you're willing to be courageous, honest as fuck, and grow yourself as a man, then click the link that's in your chat box. If you're ready to transform your fear of rejection into excitement and confidence when you're approaching and connecting with women, then brother, click that link.
Before you decide, I want you to get out a pen and paper right now if you don't have one already. And I'm going to ask you 3 questions, and it's called thresholding questions. All right, you're going to answer. You're going to answer on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being not at all, 10 being fucking A, yes, absolutely. You're going to write down, first of all, how important is it to you on a scale of 1 to 10 to have a thriving sex and romantic life? How important is it to you on a scale of 1 to 10? Write it down. You're a 1 if you don't give a fuck. You're just a monk, I guess. You're a 10 if it's really important to you to have this kind of a thriving life. Question number 2. How satisfying on a scale of 1 to 10 is your romantic and sex life right now? 1 being pretty much I have no actual contact with women. I'm jerking off to porn, and that's the best I can do right now. 10 being like, hey, you're having exactly what you want in your life of sex and romance. Whatever that means to you, you get to decide. So how satisfying is your romantic and sex life right now? Question number 3, and this is an important one to put in. How much have you invested? How much time, how much energy, and how much money, how much of your own personal resources have you invested in having the most thriving romantic and sex life you can imagine? How much have you invested in multi-$1,000 tantra courses to learn how to be the best lover she's ever had? Have you invested in dating courses before? Like on a scale of 1 to 10 on a personal level, how much have you invested in becoming the guy who you want to be and having the results that you want to have? Now, if there's a big gap between how much you value your romantic and sex life and how good it is, and especially if you haven't invested much, then I really fucking hope that you will click this link and you'll talk to us and get a little bit of a roadmap and see whether this course that we're offering is going to be a fit for you. You got to be asking yourself, like, what's the catch, right? You guys are giving me your time. Yes, I'm fucking giving you my time. There is no catch. This is 100% free. Click the link and spend 60 minutes with me or Robert or Peter talking about what it is that you want and how you can get it. Now, my 20 years experience is all yours. I know exactly how much my gift card is worth, brother. So you can take it or not take it, but there's no catch. I'm here to make your day. And I'm not gonna lie that I hope you're gonna sign up for this course. I'm hoping that I can spend 10 weeks with you starting February 14th, once a week, really amplifying your game, getting you connected to your heart, keeping you connected to a circle of men who want the same thing, and up-leveling every part of your approach and connection with women. And it's gonna cost you $0, but probably a little bit of the bullshit that's been holding you back from the juicy, hot connections that you really want. Helping men create these kinds of connections with women with the support of other men just turns me the fuck on. That's what I love. That's why I'm doing this. So we'll outline the programs, and if it happens that you get turned on and want to invest in one of these programs, then great. If not, I know how much my gift card is worth, brother. So I hope you'll click the link. I hope you'll take some time. Each of us has time on our calendars. Pick the guy you want to connect with most and find a time that works for you. We're doing this because we know what's possible when the world becomes a safer and sexier place for men and for women. And we're excited to share it with you. So it's up to you. Are you going to connect? Are you going to connect with other men and enhance your relationships? Or are you content with your relationships with women? Are you ready to create real, deep, authentic relationships? Or are you just going to sort of settle for not that great? Are you going to remain hopeless? Or are you going to grab onto some fucking delicious hope, which is the thing that helps us all take the step forward, whether we think it's actually possible or not? So are you going to keep making excuses for why your romantic life is subpar, blaming women for their faults instead of actually taking some action on your own part to be the man that you need to be? I hope that you're going to click that link and find out what's really going to get you the results you need. Because if you keep investing the minimum while hoping for maximum results, you're probably going to end up where you're headed. As a favorite teacher of mine says, if you keep doing what you're doing, you're probably going to end up where you're headed. So I promise you haven't tried everything, because you haven't tried what we're offering yet. And the sooner you apply, the more likely you're going to get a spot that works for you. Our calendars fill up fast after these calls. So guys, jump on it. I really would love to meet with you. And I can't wait to hear more about you and your stories and meet you and support you in this. Let's do this, brother.